people are are the veil is thinning, the illusions are falling away, and they're recognizing that there's something inside of them that's waking up, that wants more information, that is starving for something, and that their gifts, their intuitive gifts, are also coming online, and they're hearing things and seeing things, and that many people right now are needing support and guidance in others of us that have been playing with all of those things.
Welcome to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner, a show about shifting our individual and collective beliefs on what is possible for the future of humanity. As our understanding of how our reality continues to shift, we are at a point of reunification between science and spirituality. What does the world look like when we break free from the generational trauma that has kept most humans playing small for thousands of years and step into our full power as the co-creators of this reality? I always ask that you keep an open mind with this podcast. Ask yourself what resonates with my truth at this time and what does not. Respect your intuition, but see if you can get through the whole show, because there might be that little nugget buried deep in the conversation that unlocks something for you. Welcome everyone back to Changing the Channel. I have a familiar face for those who have been watching since the start. Her name is Brooke Bucci, and she's known as the midwife to the soul. She's a multidimensional energy healer, energy channel, and certified nurse midwife. As a healer, mentor, and facilitator of retreats and women's circles, she weaves ancient wisdom with practical guidance to help others awaken their soul's essence. Based north of Seattle, Brooke offers in-person and virtual sessions guiding individuals to rediscover their innate divinity and embrace their most authentic, empowered life. So welcome to the show, Brooke. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I am so grateful to share space with you again, heart connection, and see what we discovered today, what we uncover.
Yeah, so it's been over a year, like a year and a half, since I think the last time we had a recorded conversation, at least. And it sounds like your practice has kind of been shifting, more focusing on supporting others, finding their unique gifts, their passions, kind of connecting them to their higher self, to their kind of soul. So I'm wondering, how has your practice shifted over the last couple of years? And what are you most excited about that you are doing right now?
Yeah, well, I think we did a lot of discussion last time about this this label or identity or the piece that I carry around being a midwife, and then assisting families to bring their children in earthside in a high vibrational way. And I certainly am still doing that work with families. But what the urgency as of late, what has been revealing itself as of late, is that so many people, just the energies in the universe coming from the sun, from the earth, this great rising of consciousness, of vibration that we are having, that more people are the veil is thinning, the illusions are falling away, and they're recognizing that there's something inside of them that's waking up, that wants more information, that is starving for something, and that their gifts, their intuitive gifts, are also coming online, and they're hearing things and seeing things, and that many people right now are needing support and guidance in others of us that have been playing with all of those things for a while. And that we need every single one of us that is open to the bigger picture, open to the other side, and recognizing that there's not just this 3D reality. We need each of us to the power of each of us stepping into our truth, into our gifts, and bringing them forward to the planet is what's going to shift the vibration um, of of war, of the inequality where some people are more powerful than others. And so that's been my passion as of late, is helping others through that process and identifying their gifts and bringing them forward.
Yeah, I would agree that that is a very key aspect of the shift in consciousness coming in because again, we're not taught this when we're in school. We don't learn about these kind of non-physical aspects of reality when we experience, a traditional childhood, even in the religious. If you grow up in a religious background, you're not taught any of these unless you go into the church and you work your way all the way up to, one of the higher levels of that. And I think we're at a time on the planet where this knowledge is just, it's everywhere. You can't go anywhere without seeing a little bit of spirituality here and some channeling there and information that even 10 years ago would have sounded absolutely crazy to most people. There was that small group of people, maybe in Southern California or in India, that was very aware of these abilities that most humans are capable of doing. But now it feels like that information is out there. And even in the year and a half that it's been since we've talked, it feels like a whole different world.
Yes.
The journey to finding myself started with a shift in how I viewed my health. That is why I am proud to partner with Purium, the transformation company. What if you could support your health with a system designed for today's challenges? Purium is more than a supplement company. It's a solution for regenerative health. Their whole food products include the only clinically proven glyphosate detox, helping you eliminate the toxic buildup caused by modern farming. Pair that with Beyond Organic superfoods and the most efficient source of protein on the planet, and you've got a powerhouse combination to build muscle, improve digestion, and fuel your energy levels, all while promoting deeper sleep. Plus, Purium is mission-driven with planetary health in mind. They're proud to lead the way in a plastic-free movement using biodegradable packaging as much as possible. True health freedom starts here. Experience the power of this regenerative healing system for yourself and witness your own transformation take place. You get 60 days to try it, and if you truly don't feel any benefit, you get fully refunded. I have personally been using the daily Core 4 products and have noticed an increase in my energy and the depth of my sleep. Use the link in the descriptions to get started today and receive at least $50 off your first order over $75.
Yeah.
So how do you support people in bringing those gifts, their abilities, like tuning into their abilities? How do you bring that online for them and help them with ease integrate that into who they are?
Yes. So just the practical pieces of it, I've been doing a lot more circles, classes, mentorship, where we are. I'm guiding people through the process of let that inner voice that is within you, that inner awareness, consciousness that is in you. Why use the word higher self for soul? Your soul is you on the quantum on the quantum realm, and it is that there is a opportunity for a beautiful relationship with your higher self, and opening up that channel, opening up that communication so that you're working with all aspects of yourself, not just your human mind, your human psyche, which in this 3D realm, we do things of, we make a goal, make a plan, and, work hard, do the steps, and, push to get there. And if we bring our other aspects of ourself, our quantum aspects, we can coordinate and work together, and things unfold and create in a much easier way. So I take people step by step in the process of uh, opening up that channel, and there is a lot of simplicity here, um, like things that perhaps we would have been taught as children, and our children hopefully will learn, now in these times. More and more children will get this information so that it doesn't cut off. But, just starting with automatic journaling, 5 to 10 minutes a day, and letting the filter of the brain out, and just connecting in with your higher self and letting that information come through. Trying out different gifts, whether that is identifying you are a healer, or you channel light language, or that you bring song in, or you're very gifted with the pendulum. So exposing them to multiple different uh, avenues, and helping them find what way their soul speaks through them. And really, the meat of it, at least the foundation, is leaning into identifying what your soul mission is. What is your essence that wants to be embodied and experienced here, and and helping people allow that to grow and unfold.
It sounds like you are creating a little bit of a metaphysical school, if you might, which sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it continues to evolve. So last year I taught a class called Let's Channel, demystifying the practice of channeling. And then I'm in the midst of doing a second group this year. And that I I exactly that's exactly what it is. Kind of like a metaphysical school, but the reason I called it Let's Channel is, that is a hot word right now. That is something coming online that a lot of people have familiarity with, and it was just this, no, like, you are meant, you are being a channel when you are open to the flow of
Mhm.
divine consciousness, infinite intelligence. That is you. And so when you're in that flow, what are you gonna create? That is the artist, painting the beautiful painting, the athlete in the zone, or the channeler that is translating uh, information from other intelligences and translating it into English for us, and so um, yeah, so we'll see. I envision that a second class, num- let's channel number 2 is going to develop, but that then has evolved into a healing circle that we're doing monthly for those that have been through the class, where we're collectively gathering to do reading, do channeling, do healing for one another, in a way that is organically happening in the moment for what somebody needs.
Now, channeling, you kind of struck a chord with me. Again, the show, Changing the Channel, was the original idea behind it was this idea that, I was a channel. I was able to channel information, and that when I'm in this deep conversation with people, it feels like sometimes there's an intelligence that is speaking through me that I may not have been aware of. My conscious brain is not like fully aware of the concepts that I'm sharing, the ideas that I'm sharing, on a podcast right before yours. I was got into this channeling state, this deep hypnotic state to channel, and again, what's really cool is that the education system, the higher education system, is studying this kind of stuff. They're studying the phenomenon of channeling, of astral projecting, of astral travel, these non-physical ideas that I think most people thought were just stories from the 1800s. This is now scientifically studied evidence. It's evidenced that this is possible for humans. And this, I don't know. What's your perspective on, do you think every human on the planet that's alive right now is going to be channeling in flow in that state here in the coming years? Is it going to take decades to get to that point? Like, what is your perspective?
Yeah. So, yes, I believe as a human collective, we are rising our consciousness and coming into a vibration that we are able and understand that uh, we are our spirit, we are consciousness, and having a human experience. And so that then the parts of yourself, and so I'm simplifying by saying, the 2 parts, and then, on the flip side of that coin, all of it is oneness, and maybe we'll delve into that a little bit. People are getting comfortable with, things that seem paradoxical, and getting comfortable with both of them being, uh, occurring at the same time, being present at the same time. But yes, I do. I do believe it is innately possible that and is meant to happen, that all of us will have an open, clear connection to all of ourself. Now, does that mean every single person will tap into the angelic realm or to a collective and translate that is that word that I use, like where we translate their information they are providing to us and translate it into human language? No, I don't think every single person that's going to be their specialty. I think, but I do think we each will have the opportunity to, uh, as we realize that we don't the structures that are in the systems that are in place that are crumbling at the moment, that when we have more sovereignty and openness to allow the truth of ourself, our wisdom, our gifts to flow through, that yes, people will be bringing those forward in all different ways. Art, in like I said, art, song, healing, and in so many different ways. So the question of when, I I believe, and so those of us that are able to hold the vision of unity, of communal sharing, of all beings being worthy and valuable, and each of us being connected, that we are all connected and all one. So those of us that can understand that know that in our being, I'd say it's our responsibility to hold that vision and vibration and believe it is happening now in this present moment. It is happening in my lifetime, and I am not attached to it happening in my lifetime. I know it's an eventuality. It's going to happen no matter what. That's the journey we're on as this human collective. But I'm really excited for people to feel free and sovereign, for there be respect and love and peace in this planet as soon as possible. And so, um, we, what we put our consciousness and awareness on, which our consciousness and awareness, it is a commodity, and what we choose to put it on is where the energy is going to flow and where creation is going to happen. And so I believe we it has the possibility of happening later this afternoon, tomorrow, next week, 10 years, 20 years. There is no doubt, we know there is a infusion of infinite intelligence, rising consciousness coming onto the planet. And so how many of us are going to focus our attention there and believe? And it is possible anytime.
Right. And that's how the universe essentially works, is if we collectively put our attention on a certain outcome, then it will come into existence.
Yes.
And if we have this fractured idea of what is possible, and there's 40 different fractions of people trying to create a reality that is not unifying, is not central to everybody's belief, then we stay in this kind of disassociated, disconnected world. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious, there's a lot going on in the world. It seems from an external perspective as if things are kind of fracturing a little bit, but is that a fracturing to bring about this change? Just like a fire often brings a new life to the forest. Is that what your belief is, or is this something different?
Yes. So the natural evolution of things, the natural cycle of things is creation, birth, life, growth, and then destruction. This where it begins to fall apart, get older, and then die, and then go into the void, and then come back into creation and rebirth again. And so uh, this is this is the meat of how evolution occurs, and we do this path over and over again. And so this, in my opinion, is exactly what is happening. We are having a great shaking up, and if things weren't getting this shaken up, would people be saying, "No, this is uncomfortable. This is really uncomfortable," or "This isn't right." Um, there is part inside of them that is revolting, and it makes me think of, Caroline, Meese, her,
Nice.
oh, Mice, thank you.
Yeah.
That she I think it was in her Sacred Self-Esteem, but she may talk about it in other places, that this kinda evolutionary process, of growth is first there is the revolt and of our inner self that just says, I am not happy with these circumstances. They are uncomfortable. And then there is the time where you go within the involution after the revolution, where you learn and understand and know yourself well. And then, which you often need guidance during that time. And then there
Mhm.
is the evolution, where we bring what we have found about ourselves out into the world. And the revolution, the world, what's happening in the world is causing many of us to go within and say, this isn't right. This doesn't feel good. And so, yes, I think is really uncomfortable, is really uncomfortable. And it is keeping us on our toes. We have to be willing to pivot, and we have to go within, take time to ourselves, develop this relationship and with our inner wisdom and knowing our greater part of ourselves, and follow our own truth. And so I do feel like it is happening. I trust it is happening. All is exactly how it needs to in us, in order for us to rebirth ourselves.
Are you seeking a path to inner peace and personal transformation? Check out my website where I offer free weekly guided meditations designed to help you reconnect with your inner self and navigate your day with mindfulness. Whether you're new to meditation or looking to deepen your practice, our sessions provide a supportive space for growth. Join our community today and start your journey towards a more balanced and conscious life. Visit joegarner.net and sign up for our free weekly meditation. Find the link in the show notes.
Exactly. Yeah, I would agree 100% that's kind of where we are right now, that there's a large percentage of the population going through this
Yeah.
revolt, and the guidance that they will have offered for those who have gone through this
Yes.
evolution themselves will be key. And that
Yeah.
people like yourself,
Yep.
almost everybody that I have on the show, it kind of shares that perspective, that same perspective, that for those who go through the evolution, they come back and help the next group that is going through. And it seems as if, just kind of looking back on history, that there's been a shortened period between these evolutions, revolts, shifts. At one point, 2000 was a big shift for a lot of people. Then 2008, then 2012, then 2016, 2020, now 2025. 23, 24,
Yeah,
it's shrinking, and
it
we're
is.
getting all these people through these gigantic shifts in their awareness, their belief systems, their patterns, um, to where a huge, I think it's nearing a majority of the people are awake, are aware that they know that there is something far deeper than what they were taught in school, in religion, in um, from the leaders of their countries, that there's something deeper than that
Yes,
that hasn't been shared with them, and they're connecting with it. They're making that deeper connection, and it's amazing to see.
it is.
So how do you guide your students through that experience? Like, I assume you're kind of drawing on your experiences,
Yes.
what your transformation was like. So maybe tell us a little bit about that. And then what are you telling people right now that are coming online, that are awake, that are aware, that want to learn more about the deeper truths of the universe?
Yeah. So the first question, you had 2 questions there. What was
Yeah. What was your
more?
experience
Yeah,
going through this?
yeah. Well, yeah, I do wanna start with the piece of and those of us that have been awake or in this awareness of spirituality for a while, uh, that doesn't make us better than, that doesn't make us more advanced. It may mean we have, access to some more wisdom, but there is not something that because I went through an awakening process in my early 20s and have known that we were all connected, that there was more than this human experience, that I was spirit and I had a spirit within me. But I needed many years to understand I was worthy to feel that spirit, to feel the oneness, to feel the power and grandness. And I came in with a wound of unworthiness, and I had to play that out for many years. So I became in my 20s, I had my son. I was inspired after that experience to become a midwife. First, I became a nurse and was a nurse for 12 years and finally got to my goal of becoming a midwife, and then dove deep into working 60, 80, even 100 hours a week for 6 years, and was really offering myself in service to these families, bringing their children earthside. I was working as a first midwife in a hospital environment, really shifting how birth was done, and it required a lot of energy and time. And I was also playing out a pattern of, well, unless I am struggling, unless I am sacrificing
Mm,
myself, I am not worthy. I have to prove my worthiness by being sacrificial and I burnt myself to the ground as one can speak. And I was playing into an illusion that the my clients felt like they couldn't do their birth without me, and that's
mm.
silly. Of course they can, you know. And so I had to really break myself there in order, and that was my revolution. But it took a lot, I was hard-headed and this is so uncomfortable, can't be right for me to be so imbalanced, and so then I left there into another job where, much better work-life balance, but I went into a supervisory role, and I was really nurturing and caretaking. That is a lot of my medicine, is to take care of people, and so I still had another layer of recognizing that, uh, my what I wanted to express wasn't any longer after being in that job for 6 years, wasn't any longer feeding my soul. I wasn't feeling alive any longer. I was feeling restricted. And so then I had about six years ago now, another part of me, another voice, another expression wanted to come through. I've realized that I thought I would be attending births and forever in my life, but I recognized that I had even more to offer in this midwife to the soul in assisting others in their energetic and spiritual evolution. And so I say kind of the spiral around this journey that I have had is because those of us that have been doing this a while, we know that there's just more to learn. you know,
Mm.
there is more illusion to get through, more separation to get through, and that there isn't an arrival point. And so those of us that have some understanding of our experience, um, it is a requirement to remain humble, to remain committed to our own practice. And so I'll shift then into the second part of your question. What what is the pathway? Well, the first pathway right now in all of the chaos and tumultuousness of the energy out there is go within and go into yourself, go into nature, go lay on the mama, go lean on the tree and go into quiet. And we need that for stabilization. And that is the access point to hear the voice, hear the higher self, hear the soul, and trust and believe. And we really need often w- helpers along the way, guides, teacher, supporters, midwives to help us say trust that, because it's been so ingrained in us not to believe our intuition. And so having someone there that reminds you, brings you back around. Yes, take a day and follow where your guidance tells you to go, and see what that feels like.
Mm.
I'll wrap up that piece with just saying that, yes, we utilize one another right now as supporters, as inspirers, as role models, but the true teacher, the the only teacher you need now, the only wisdom you need is your wisdom, your truth. And uh, that for many years, we've been told that our locus of control is outside of ourselves. It is our family, our culture, society, our government, our president, and it is now the transformation of saying, "No, I am my greatest wisdom. I am the source of my sovereignty." And so I think developing that relationship is so crucial to step into your power, your self-confidence, and say, no, my voice matters, my wisdom matters, and I need to do what is in alignment for me.
Mm. How do you how do you teach people the discernment between that normal talking voice that's inside of their head and what you would call your higher self, your guidance, your, intelligence?
Yes, so starting with that uh, automatic journaling and and ch- channeling. So if you don't want to journal, but you want to uh, speak instead into a recording. And so dropping from your head, using your breath, dropping into your heart. And so it just depends how accessible that is for people. Perhaps they need to listen to a meditation, a guided meditation, or perhaps they need to have music on. Uh, Perhaps they need to do some vagal toning and relaxation beforehand. And so in my classes, I give several different possibilities, suggestions, things for them to try on and see what fits
Mm.
for them. And over time, then you develop what works for you. And then the recognition, telling the difference between what's coming through that automatic journaling, that channeling. And when we are in connection with divine consciousness, our higher self, our guides, those that are of love and unity consciousness, which is the vibration. I tell people to be clear about who and what your vibration you're connecting in with. And when you receive those messages that are so loving, so supportive, so reassuring, s- and and then you're in your daily life and hearing the that wasn't good enough, you should have done better, you got to work harder. When it has that judging or criticism, that's our psyche. That's the inner critic speaking. That is not higher self. So it's asking questions like, what do you, when you have those moments where you've tapped in or what you're writing is coming from somewhere else other than your brain, what do you feel in your body? Do
Mm.
you feel a warm feeling? Do you get a tingling? Do you just feel expansive and open? Do you get the chills? Asking them, what is it that you feel in those moments that helps you tap in? And then practicing with daily life and being committed to your practice, even if it is only a few minutes a day, and then taking that out into the world and practicing. Oh, I know I'm getting such a clear feeling right here. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to listen and see what happens. And then big, synchronicities line up or openings happen. And so, and then coming back around and sharing and talking about it. Um, and then when there's opportunity, that's why I like working in groups of people and not just individually. Of course, I do work individually as well. But then when you're trying out in that safe container, getting intuitive messages and giving them to another, and then they be like, "Oh, that fits right. That is exactly what I need."
Mm.
And so in that way, people get confirmation. And so it is just a step-by-step incremental education, a remembering.
Right. I think you mentioned, feeling what your body is feeling and making that connection between the physiological response that happens when you're connecting to this thing that is outside of you,
Yeah.
and then being very aware of it and training your reticular activating system, like the focused attention of your brain, to realize when you're experiencing that physiological response. This is what I teach my trainees about, is when when you figure out what that physiological response is for a yes or a no or a hey, pay attention, you have to also train your mind to pick up on that, because 99.5% of everything that's happening in your body is filtered out of your conscious awareness. And if you can train yourself to be aware of that, and I think that's for some of us who have been in it for years now and have been around it, have been experiencing it, you kind of forget what it's like to not have that experience.
Yes.
And when people are coming into it, it's very key for them to understand that you've got to retrain your brain
Yeah.
how it works.
Yes.
You've got to retrain it to
Rewire.
access,
Yeah.
exactly, fully rewire your brain to train it to seek those responses from inside of you instead of the external responses that you're always looking for, um the evidence that what you believe is true, instead of knowing that it is true and allowing the external world to shift
Yes.
to make it true.
Yes. 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 So it is. And I do have some science background. I am a nurse midwife, but I am not it's not my medicine to be the person that explains, the bits and parts of that to people. So I'm grateful for, the sharing you had there, but I can share at least the, clear understanding is that what is happening is new neural pathways developing, new training, like you said, brain training. And it requires a willingness to go into the space of the unknown, what you are uncomfortable with, and step into that river of the unknown and allow yourself to, when we can't live in this, we're out here humaning, we can't constantly just be in full trust mode and allowing. We have to be scanning sometimes what's happening in the world and adjust.
Hmm.
But the more and more we're willing to let ourselves step into that current of the unknown and be in that flow, we are getting that repetition. And it is so, so very important to have a willingness to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm feeling a urge and a call, and so I'm gonna be willing to be uncomfortable for a bit of time until I develop this new muscle, this new brain wiring that gets comfortable, and then I'm gonna move into the next layer of discomfort.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's been my journey for the last probably 6 months or so. It's being in that uncomfortable space where I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but also not spending my entire time in that space as well. Like I still have to eat. I've got to make some kind of money. I've got to provide for myself and have a shelter over my head. And it's been an interesting journey to find that right
Yeah.
balance, to trust my intuition, to know that I need to go here. I don't know why I need to go here, but I do need to go here, even though I could be doing 5 other things that would benefit me in some way. But almost always when I listen to that voice, there's a connection, there's a um, you know, synchronicity that happens, and it just kind of always seems to work out.
Yeah.
Um, Again, not having, having the freedom to do that and not having a job, not having a career, not having something like that is always, yeah, I feel like I'm walking a little bit on the other side of the line that I have traditionally been walking. And just like it's a pendulum, I spent so much time of my life on the rational side that I got to have a job. I got to save for the future. I got to, make sure that all the boxes are checked that my teachers, that my guides, that my mentors told me. And then 3 years ago, like the pendulum swung so far to the other side that I was in that space,
Mhm.
that liminal space, that lost space where
Yep.
I didn't know what the next step was, what the next, even what tomorrow would bring,
Mhm.
let alone 3 months, 6 months, 8 months from now. And then, yeah, just luckily I had some great guides. I had some great teachers. I had some really good people that helped me build a structure. And this is what I've kind of come to find out is you kind of build an idea, a structure of what you want to come into existence, what you want your life to be like. And then you allow the universe to create it around you, not go out and look for it.
Yes.
And it's such a counter to what I grew up knowing, what I thought was the right way to live, to be a human. But it just works. I don't know. You gotta, as long as you have that faith and you're comfortable in that liminal space between the two realities, it really does. It changes the way that you interact with the world, with the physical reality, with the external world. I was reading something yesterday, basically talking about how the more that you do it, the shorter that time that you have to be in that liminal space becomes. So eventually it becomes the point where when you have a negative thought, negative things start to happen immediately around you. Like there's no difference. There's no time lag between your thought and what happens in your reality. And so many people get so afraid at that point because they're so used to this lag time. It's like, oh, well, I had a negative thought, but tomorrow I'll have a better thought. Whereas the deeper and deeper and deeper that you go, the shorter that space is, and the less margin of error that you have for these innate thoughts that you have inside of your head, and the more control, I don't want to say control, just the more awareness of your thoughts that you need to have during that point. And again, from my perspective, meditation is one of those ways that you can break the physiological response between the thought and how your body responds or reacts to it, and B, be able to decide whether or not you're going to give merit to any thought that comes across your mind. So if that thought is, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I don't belong here, you can take that thought at the thought immediately and say, do I believe this? Do I want to believe this? Should I believe this? Is there evidence for me to believe this? And 9 times out of 10, there's not going to be evidence for you to believe that. You almost have to have this like willful ignorance of your inabilities, and before you know it, you are, the best in the world. You're the number one. You're on top of everybody else in that arena. And it's just, it really is. It's hard to convey in words what that experience is like.
It is hard. And the another piece of that thought that comes in, or that experience that happens that feels heavy or dense or negative, is a recognition that because we're still, yes, we're getting better and better at this, but we're still going to have moments of shadow illusion separation, where the mind is kind of taking over for a bit of time. And if we shift to saying, oh, I'm having a really heavy emotion, I'm having a lot of negative self-talk recently, I am living more in my head than in my heart recently, this is happening for me. I have this situation has coordinated itself for me. I have actually, my higher self and me together have created this uncomfortable situation, or brought up an old way of being, so that I can integrate and love myself. So really, the mastery isn't so much that we've mastered not ever having a negative thought, or having an illness, perhaps. It's that we love ourselves so deeply and fully through our human, through us being human, through making mistakes. And when we accept and love ourselves completely, no matter what, then it allows that flowing through to move through much faster. So yes, we are the frontier. We're pioneers on the frontier of learning how to do the practical life and be in consciousness, and not even necessarily it become such a habit that it just commingled into life. That is where we're going. And giving ourselves credit. We've been in lifetimes on this planet, a few thousand lifetimes now, where this commingling was completely shut off. It wasn't safe to bring your gifts forward, and all the witch trials, and all the persecution, and all of those kinds of things. So giving ourselves patience and compassion through our journey, and knowing anytime something shows up and I've reverted back to an old pattern, it's because it's ready to be loved, healed, and integrated. And so that is a big piece to my teaching as well.
Mm. Yeah, it sounds like an amazing program. And you said most of it is a group setting? You've got a women's circle, and are there other containers that you have as well?
Yeah, well, it is evolving at the moment. So there is this first Let's Channel class, and I am currently creating number two. So right now, that class is 12. I take the max of 12 people. And then level two is going to have smaller groups. So six people. And so we've given lots of different, many different meditations looking at the energy, how energy works, how you can work with it using the different tools like pendulums or oracle cards, or um, trying on different ways of channeling, different ways of healing. And so we've done a broad stroke in the channeling group, and then we have another um, layer of digging deeply, really delving into and practicing and developing your own personal skill set. And then level three, these two and threes are culminating right at the moment, but is assisting other people who want to bring this forward as their business, and make income, and shift out of the old structures and move into being of service on the planet in this way where they're in reciprocity with others. So I've just been helping individually. That's my dream for the three-step process, but I've been helping a lot of my individual clients move through that journey individually. And so many of the women that took it happened to be all women last year that we're meeting for this monthly healing circle. One of them I assisted to, I do metaphysical fairs, and I helped her get started at her first metaphysical fair as a psychic reader. And another woman and I in the group are offering a retreat at the end of April in Edmonds, Washington, if anybody's interested, called Sacred You, the Union of Source and Soul. And so I am she had a dream as do I, to do retreats. And so I'm supporting her in her journey forward. So this is kind of the next level, is helping people bring that into business form if they so choose.
That's amazing. I love to hear and see the progression and how it kind of shifts. And yeah, it's always interesting, especially, you have this idea, you kind of build some kind of structure around it, and then it just everything evolves and moves and changes. I feel like from at least on my end, I've had 6 different business ideas in the last 2 years, and I've pursued them, and they,
Yes.
didn't enjoy this one. This one wasn't what I thought it would be. And, I'm coming around to hopefully what the next couple years of my life are going to look like. And it's exciting to see. So it's really cool to see that that's where you're at as well. And it's just coming to you. You don't have to go out and find it and do the hard work and just grit your teeth and make it happen. It's allowing it
Oh,
to
wow.
show up
Exactly.
and be
Exactly.
awesome.
Being willing to be malleable, adaptable, to that is part of mastery. It's just okay it that I thought that, I just put 8 months into this, and I thought that was what was meant to be, but now the blockage is there and it's not flowing any longer. Oh, it's because it opened me up to this next, rendition, and this next
Mhm.
soul expression.
Yeah. Well, Brooke, where can people find out more about your retreats, circles, all of that?
Yes. Well, first, my website, and my business name is journeywithbrooke.com. I have a YouTube channel, Journey with Brooke. Every Wednesday, I post a new meditation or journey on there. And so I would love for people to join up there. On Facebook as well, Journey with Brooke. Instagram, my handle's BRO Bucci, Bro Bucci. But you will see you can find it as well with Journey with Brooke. And so On my website, you'll hear of the different classes and opportunities that I have. And so, about this retreat, it is a women's retreat. Not all of my clients are women, probably about 80%. Um, this is a women's retreat coming up. You can learn all about it on my website. Um, and we have monthly women's circles and future classes, all there on the events page.
Beautiful. I'll make sure I tag those in the show notes so people can find them. Brooke, this has been wonderful. I'm so glad we could get back together. I know we had, I think you reached out to me a couple months ago, and I was like, let's do another show. It feels like it's the right time. We got a lot of shifting, a lot of changing, a lot of interesting energies happening. So I appreciate your perspective as always. It's so near and dear to my heart and what I believe is happening on the planet as well. So it's always nice to get to chat and share our ideas together and help others who are going through whatever they are going through.
Yes, I agree.
All
So
right.
appreciate the connection, and my prayer, my hope is that just even one, but many have a heart opening, a soul opening that we've offered today, and is going to help them.
Beautiful. Well, thanks again. And thanks for joining us on Changing the Channel. We will see you next time.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for listening to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner. If you enjoyed the show, please follow the podcast, hit the bell to know when a new show comes out, share with a friend, and rate us on whatever platform you're tuning in from. It helps get these messages out to more people to create the collective shift in reality we are here to experience. Make sure you interact with the Q&A and poll sections of the show so I can continue to provide content you enjoy. Finally, check out my website in the show notes to become a VIP of Changing the Channel and join the shift that is happening.